Hi everyone, happy 2019. And if you're local to me, aka the Chicagoland area, I hope you are staying warm. Thankfully, theoretically, today's supposed to be the last day of this, so we're hoping that it starts to warm up just like it said it's supposed to. I'm changing just a couple quick settings on my phone here. So give me 1 second. I was just trying to see if I could finally figure out why last time comments weren't showing. But anyway, hello. And this is the first Facebook Live video of the year. And I believe, as I kind of titled this one, a alternative take on watercolor, a splotch and splash technique. And what do I mean by that? So this is what I mean by this. I'm going to create a card for you tonight, just one, but here's some samples of cards that I've created in some prior classes. And hi Trudy, I will move the camera down to the platform that I'll be working on once I'm ready, but for right now I just wanted to show these. So this is one style of kind of a combination of the splotch and splash. This is another one, a little similar but different coloring. Hi Diane. Here is another card that I made, and as you notice, each of these do have a front that I had cut out on it, and that's kind of just to finish it off. But here's another one, and actually I think probably the scales go that direction. So the pattern behind it is actually what I'm going to demonstrate tonight on how to do that. It's super quick. I'm going to backtrack slightly. Okay, these three, I didn't note it. But just to kind of talk about briefly what kinds of pens I've used for these. To create this design, I actually used some Spectrum Noir, some Kelly Creates, some Nouveau, and some Distress crayons. So you can kind of tell if I angle this right. Yeah, it's not as easy, but the peach colors here is actually a glitter. There we go. We get a little shine there. So I used 4 different kinds of pens with that one. The old style CM pens work. For whatever reason, while it's still an alcohol-based pen, Copics did not work with this technique. Someone else might be able to get it to work, but I just couldn't. Here's another sample. This one's very faint. It's one of the earlier ones I did when I was still kind of practicing. This was actually using our Creative Memories pen pouch, which I think I do have down here. So the current 5 colors that we have for Creative Memories were used to create that. This was also created by that set as well. So this was a little bit more of the purples, little orange. This one's more grays and kind of periwinkles with a little pink in it. Hi Diane, hi Michelle. And then this last one, this was actually by the way, I used the old CM pens with this one. And this was using Recollection pens. And it happens to be one of my favorites. Possibly because that color play is definitely one of my favorites. I wish I could figure out why I can't see comments on here. So I'm sure somebody is saying hi or anything. Please feel free to comment below. I will go back and watch the video when I'm done recording this and will answer any questions. And if somebody happens to actually know the tip as to why my phone is not showing comments like it used to, let me know, please. I would love to fix that for the next time, because it's definitely more fun when this is interactive versus me just sitting here and talking. So the first 3 I'm just going to show again for folks who came on recently. So this is one style. This is a very colorful, almost, I kind of had Christmas in mind when I did that, with the reds, greens, and the grays, just for a little bit of neutral. So these are all the cards that I've done from either myself or I've taught this class at a charity event. And what do you need? So you need any kind of paintbrush. I just went and grabbed like a 5 set. They were like $5, so it was like $1 a piece. I do have some larger size, and I'm going to use one of each just to kind of show you the difference. I have been told, but I have not tried it myself, that this does not work as well if you get the kids' paint brushes. But I just, went to the craft store and just grabbed, a pack from their arts painting aisle, one of the more inexpensive versions. So you just need some kind of paintbrush. You need some water. And here comes the fun part. Some type of Ziploc bag or something that has this sort of feel. If you have bought paper packs from Creative Memories or other companies that have the kind of plastic enclosure, that would work as well. I bought a whole, it seemed like it was 1,000 piece of these snack size, not realizing it was snack version. So I'm sitting here. This does not hold sandwiches. It doesn't hold anything that I would want, like, to bring for work or for, like, if I'm going out and I just need something to munch on. So I'm very glad that I found this technique that somebody else had done on a YouTube video. And I wanted to replicate it here because it was a great way for me to start using up some of these. So what I have is I do have 2 of them, because one is you're going to actually use kind of as your paint palette. The other one is the one that you're going to actually place down on the first, and that's what you use for the splotch technique. So right now, the last thing that I'm just going to show you here is this card, which is a straight up one, so it's not a fold, but it's another, this is, I think, probably one of the very, very first ones I did. This is either the first or the second. So what you'll be able to see is that when I talk about splotch, I'm talking about these bigger comments here. And when I'm talking about splashes, I'm talking about these little tiny dots that appear. This is a much better one to show it. You can see the splotches are the much bigger versions, and then all these little splashes. Those are the kind of technique that I'm going to be showing you today. And one thing that's great about this is it's super fun to do with kids. I wanted to try to get this video before the kind of the subarctic polar vortex temperatures we've been having here in Chicagoland, because I know other parts of the country are also really cold. Fortunately, I didn't have the full schedule developed yet until Monday, and then I needed a little bit of time to find this stuff in my craft area and demonstrate it. So the first thing, just as a tip, if nobody's ever thought about this, how do you make cards if maybe you have some extra cardstock laying around? Here's a tip. If you have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, if you cut it in half, which I have a half here, this half you then fold and it becomes a new card. So it's a great way if you tend to use more 12 by 12s and you're not really sure what to do with these 8.5 by 11s, that's a tip for you. So I have one card already set up here, and the nice thing about this is you can actually do this on scrapbook paper as well for layouts and have it as a background. But I'm going to start with one card first, and then I'll just kind of show you the same type of thing on a larger scale for a layout. I have done, you can see all the cards that I've done. I've done a couple layouts. They are off in books at the moment. Had my family call right before here. Was on the phone for 35 minutes, so a little longer than I thought the call was going to be, so I didn't have time to grab that out. But I will show that for you later. So I'm going to just tilt the camera. Just bear with me a little bit here because I want to make sure that you can see the area that I'm working on. And I'm just good. Okay. So this should help. I actually have a different system that I'm using right now for this, so this should get you pretty close up. So let me put the envelope away. For pens, what I have out for recollections, because I'm not sure yet what color I'm going to use, but I've got all of these for recollection pens. I have some of the Nouveau glitter markers. So I happen to have, looks like 5. Let me go like this. Yep, 5 of those. I have a couple of the Kelly Creates. I have, actually looks like I haven't used this one before, so I'll probably hold off on that. And I do have one, I'm going to grab another one, but I have the Spectrum Noir Metallic Blue Topaz. So let me just grab a couple more colors there. Okay, so I just grabbed a metallic pewter and a burnished copper. Okay, so how does this work? The first thing you want to do is you want to grab your, as I called it, kind of the palette, and you're going to set this down. And just so I know what color scheme I want to work with, let me open up my binder. This particular binder, if you saw my videos from last year, I use these for many different purposes. This particular binder has all the extra die cuts and such that I have cut out using either a Cuttlebug or my Gemini. And if I haven't used it in a layout yet, I toss it in here. So in the back, I have these extra card pieces. And I am thinking that I might use this blue butterfly. So that's going to help dictate which color scheme I use here behind it. Okay, so what you do is, and the other thing that you do need is some paper towel. So I've got a 2-ply here, and then I've got a single ply here. The good news is most of this stuff is already readily available in people's houses. All you just need is a paintbrush. So I'm going to show the splotch technique first. And right now I'm just going to set this off to the side because we don't need it. I just want to make sure this is good. This is viewable for you guys. So we know we're doing blues. So what you want to do is you want to pick up a pen, and what you're going to do is you're going to actually sit here. Hey Marcella, hey Dawn. Is you're going to sit here, and then on your Ziploc bag, it doesn't have to be that brand, it could be any other brand as long as it's got that, I always get this confused. I want to say porous, but the non-porous, so it doesn't seep through. So all you do is you just color it. Just add a little color like that. And then you just take your water, you take your paintbrush, just get the paintbrush wet, and then all you do is just take this and just kind of swirl it around. Now you can tell the Kelly Creates actually gives a nice good thick coating there. Sometimes they get a little watery and such. Sometimes it dissipates. So each different marker that you have will give you a different effect. So for the splotch technique, you just take the second, baggie, and you just press down on it. So that way you've got these patterns. And then all you're going to do is just literally pick it up like this and splotch it on the page. Now the one thing I like about the Kelly Create pens is they're very vibrant. There's a lot, they're jewel brushes. So you can actually tell here that I'm getting some very good color. And you can tell the very first ones I did because it's a little thicker, and then it gets a little less thick after that. So I'm just going to finish this off because we're going to add more color to this. And for anybody new who just came on, I, for whatever reason, cannot... Oh, all of a sudden now I can see comments. Hey Dawn, hey Marcella. I don't know what happened, but the last video that I did, I couldn't see anybody's comments until it was already done. So I'm really glad I can actually see stuff here. So, can everybody see kind of how to do that? Again, you just take the pen, color it on, and this time, let's see, I'm going to grab, actually I like those bright colors, so I'm going to grab this other jewel brush. This is ruby color. So I'm going to, again, all I did, actually I should have said what I did, but when you're done with that particular color, just take your, all of a sudden the word's escaping me. Just take the paper towel and just wipe it off, and if you notice, there's no hint of it behind, and there's just the last little drops. So I'm going to add this color to it, and as you can tell, it was called that ruby. The one thing you do want to do is you just want to clear off your brush, so you know, just kind of run it against the bottom, clear it off, and then you just add this color, you know, a little water to this again. The nice thing about this is you are not stuck just using this color. You could add and change the color, and I'm going to do that in a moment after I get this on. I'm going to do a combination, but you can actually change the color into something else. So again, this time here, just making sure I had gotten rid of all of the other dots off of there. I'm going to take this extra page. I'm just going to sit here, again, pick it up like that so you see it's on there, and then I'm just going to kind of splash it around on here. So this is kind of what I affectionately call the splotch technique, because it's very clunky. It's fun though, and it's great. It's something very fun to do with kids, because A, they get messy. You get a little bit, so I would definitely make sure you put something down, some paper underneath. You can, again, you could just use, you know, a roll of paper towel and just lay a few sheets behind, and definitely I would recommend in the front side of it that you do the same, because with the splash technique, that is going to splash, so it's going to push out whichever direction you're tapping. So here is how that looks right now. But let's say I want to actually make this a little darker. So let me just see if I have the right colors out here, if I want to add a new color. Okay, I'm grabbing this Spectrum Noir Pink Quartz, and I'm going to combine that with this Recollections pen. So the way you combine it is very similar to what you just did here. So again, I'm just going to clear off the area first. And the nice thing about it is, if for example, it might be a little hard to see, in fact it is, but there are a couple pink spots still left on here that didn't want to rub away, you can just use another part of the baggie. I'm just going to turn it over. So the way that you mix colors is you don't actually put the two colors on top of each other, you put them next to each other. Hey Barbara! So how this works is, again, you just take the pen, and now you're going to see the Spectrum Noir, how that actually comes out. This is going to come out much more like a regular pen. It doesn't have as much, I don't have the right technical terms, but these come out very thick because it's almost like it is more, there's more substance to it. This, you can see that it's just like a pen style on there. So what you end up wanting to do is using more, you know, using a little bit more of this. And I think I used the opposite end this time. So you can see one side was very, it's almost even hard to see here. You can see one side, there we go. One side was very faint on the top, and then the bottom is brighter. So that's going to be that particular one from the Spectrum Noir. Here comes the Recollections. So you can see this is going to be thicker because it's got that much more bolder tip. So then you put the two side by side. So here's the Spectrum Noir, and then there is this one here is the Recollections. So again, just making sure your brush is clear from the last color that you used. what you're going to do is you're going to add water to one side, and then you're going to add water to the other, and then you're going to connect the two. And that's really what's going to give it that robust color. And so here's the color right now. So say I decided that I really, really, really wanted to make this even darker. I've been using pinks. So what I could do is I could grab my purple Kelly Creates, add some more purple color underneath it. Again, not on top of it, but just underneath it. And then I can mix all of those together. Now the purple in this case tended to dominate it a little bit. So here's kind of that merged color, but if you wanted to make your own kind of shade of orange, for example, using something red and yellow, which are very different from each other, you'll get a better blend probably than trying to do pink and purple, because those are really too close to each other on the color spectrum for this example, but it was what I went with. So this is going to be my last splotch technique. So again, just take your baggie, press down on it so that you've got your ink here, and splotch away. What I usually try to do is I try to find holes where there's not as much, and then that's where I fill that in. Okay, now, one of the reasons why I say to put stuff underneath is just, oh, okay, the picture's all scrambled. Is the screen like moving? I'm trying a different, it's not a tripod, but it's actually a different way to hold the camera here. So I will try not to jiggle it too much, and you tell me if that helps it at all. Hey, Karen. Hi, Barbara. So this still has to dry, those purples, but that's what you basically kind of end up with there. So that's one card. I'm going to put that off to the side and let it dry, and I'm just going to do the other card. And as I said at the beginning, this was half of an 8.5 sheet that I cut in half, and then you fold this part in half, and then you get your card. You can of course buy, regular cards at the store. I just happen to have some extra cardstock laying around. So the splotch technique is what I just showed you on that card. Now I'm going to show you the much more delicate splash technique. And I'm just going to take a second here first. Let me know if you're still getting some scrambled video or not. Hopefully not, but that will tell me I have to do something a little different here. On where I have this hooked up. It sounds like the issues that you guys are seeing are more prevalent now than in prior videos. If that's the case, then I'll go back to using my regular tripod. But, okay, so we already have one dot on here, so I might as well use this side. So this is the splash technique. So if you've ever held chopsticks, that's kind of how I describe this technique. So again, I'm just going to pick a color. This is going to be a new card. And I'm going to, might as well go with some red. So I'm just putting some red down. Hi, Pumpkin, you're a good girl. There's my red. Again, you're going to add some water to it. And the amount of water you add, if you add more water, it's going to dilute the color. If you add less water, it's going to keep it stronger. And if you decide that it's too diluted, just go ahead, take the pen and add a little bit more ink to it. Oh, not better yet? Ooh, okay. I wonder what's going on with this time. So with this technique, you're actually going to take your take your paintbrush, and I tend to hold it like this, so between these two fingers, loose, just like that, and then I just kind of put my thumb against it like that, only because what you're ultimately going to do is you're going to press down on this like this, so you want this to have some wiggle. Whatever way makes it easier for you to hold this will be good. Just take it, mix it up in here really nice and well, and then all you just do is hold this over this, and I'm going to angle this way, and then again you want this loose because you are going to sit here and you're just going to tap it. Tapping it when you have it loose, but just between the two fingers. I guess you could say holding a cigarette as well. I've not done that, but that's another way to kind of think of this, and just tap. I'll check on that, Marcel, and I will re-record this, not live, but if I see the same issue, I'll go ahead and just do a quick re-recording using the other version. So if you can see that, at least you can see that I was splashing it. And that really is the splash technique. I am actually going to grab, let's see, let's do one of the Nouveaux. Let's do a gray. So this is a glitter marker. Okay, so this one looks like it has not been used yet. Let me just prime it. I swear I've used the gray before, but okay. In the interest of time, I will grab one of these. And which color is this? It is definitely a coppery color, so I'll just grab that instead. This is still a Nouveau, so it's going to have glitter on it. Just need to add enough to make this look watery. Again, I just mix this up like that, and then I'm going to just splash it again. Sometimes it might help if you change the angle, because then you'll get different splatter patterns. And I'm just going to do this really quick, one more color with a, and of course I picked colors evidently that I have not used in a little bit. Okay, we'll use a Recollections green then. That's a nice bright color. Hey Crystal, sounds like I've got some issues in terms of the camera. Right now I can actually see the camera's wiggling. That might be a problem I have with the new holder that I was testing out tonight. So I will definitely, if this is not really viewable, I will redo the video and, you know, re-present that. So again, you know, I just colored on one of the Ziploc bags with a pen, added a little bit of water with the paintbrush to it, and then this is the splash technique where you just kind of either hold it like a cigarette, you hold it like chopsticks, and then you just tap. I'm going to try and definitely get some spots up here. And I'm just holding it at different angles so I can make sure that I actually get different looks. Okay, so this is basically a good demonstration of what I call the splash technique. And then now that this one has almost, there's only one spot left that hasn't dried, this was the splotch technique. So when you put the two together, that actually looks pretty cool. And what I just want to do really quick right now, and then I'll wrap this up and then actually take a look at the video and see if I need to quick do another one and repost it tonight for you. Hey Stacy. So I'm just going to do a couple of these splotch and splash techniques on this beige piece of cardstock, because you can do this as a background. You could do it on an existing color, although I would probably recommend not, unless what you're adding is going to really stand out from it. But again, in order to do this, you just take your Ziploc baggie, whatever brand, grab a color. I'm actually going to use black initially because I'm going to do some splotches. Just add the color on here. You can see the color on the bag. The reason to use one of these, or if you have the original bags that your paper have come in, that's usually non-porous as well, so the pen colors will stay on top of it. This time again I used a Spectrum Noir pen, but so far tonight you've seen me use Nuvo, you've seen me use Kelly Create, you've seen me use Recollections. The old CM, the new CM pens work. The only thing I've found so far in my collection that does not work is Copics. For whatever reason, when I add the water to it, even though both Spectrum and Copics are alcohol based, the Copics just didn't want to connect the colors. So right now I'm just rinsing out my paintbrush, and I'm actually, for this, because I'm using a much larger piece of paper, that's why I kind of grabbed this larger brush. So this is going to give much bigger splashes, or splotches. So I'm just adding a little bit of water to this. That water, that's why you use something where the water is going to stay beaded on top of it and not soak through. Again, I'm just going to take the other baggie, and it looks like I have a little hanger on her, and then I just dab it here. And so it really depends what you're looking for. What I did on one was I actually had done like a rainbow effect. So I kind of, made the shape of a rainbow. I'm going to put a piece of paper down here, and then I'm going to have photos across the middle. So I'm really just trying at this point to get the top part with some color to it. So you just, just wipe that off and then dab. Just kind of splotch it on. And so that's how that part here is looking initially. And I'm just going to add a couple more colors to it. Let's see. I think yep, I have primed this one before. So this is going to be kind of a raspberry color, which I think will stand out against this. And it's a glitter marker as well. So you'll really get to see some good glitter here. So again, if the pen itself comes off a little on the thin side, hey Linda, feel free to add a bit more color to it. Like in this case, I can tell this is a little on the weak side, just in terms of how, how sometimes you've got the narrower, and this is actually a better example. You've got the narrow pen and then you've got the wider pen. When you only have one option, sometimes you might have to just add a little bit more color because the pen itself might not come out well enough without it. Okay, so now I've got lots of glitter showing here. I'm going to grab the bag again. Hey Brandy. And yep. This is why normally you might want to have a lot of extra papers. I just kind of spilled a little bit, but that's okay. It's crafting. Stuff happens with crafts. Okay, so this color is actually not holding quite as well as I'd hoped. But sometimes it's just trial and error to see, especially with this. I've done most of my stuff with cardstock in terms of for this, I have not used the CM cardstock yet, and that's what I'm using right now. So I'm learning different pens and the amount. If you add too much water, it gets too watery. And I think that's probably what I did here. So I'm just going to try that one more time with a lot less water and see if that makes any difference. So let me just use the smaller pad here. Just add a couple drops of water. Just use the paintbrush and just kind of mix it. And the nice thing about this is because basically all you're using is paper towels and Ziploc bags, the cleanup is so easy. Especially if you've got like Dixie cups or something, which you might have in the house in the bathrooms if you've got kids or something. And then you just sit here. Yep, that definitely helped, making it a little less watery. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe this down really quick. And while it's still drying, right now you can actually see, if you look on this side, that there's those bubble indentations. All you do to just let it lay flat on, for sometimes it might be 5 minutes, sometimes it could be 15 minutes. It just really depends how much water you had added to the mixture. And then just letting it flat, that will dissipate, the bubbles and things will go away, and it'll just become a regular flat sheet of paper again. But let's see if I can actually get some of the shine to come through here. I know right now it's getting a little, okay, there we go. You can definitely see it up here if you don't see it at all. So you can imagine if you have maybe a white cardstock or a different color and you want to do something just to give your paper a little bit of background, because maybe you're going to put a journal card here, maybe you'll have a photo go here, but you'll still have a little bit of color in the back, and wow, okay. Oh, yeah, Crystal, I know, that's what I'm hearing here. I might have to just quick do a re-record, not live, so I can actually view it as well at the same time. So all I'm going to say, and then I'm going to sign off and then take a look at this is the second one that I did. That's using the splash technique. And then this is the first card that I did using the splotch technique. And the last thing that I won't put this on here because I want to, look at the video, but I picked out this design to actually put on the front of this card. You could leave it like that if you wanted, but I tend to like to finish off the card a little bit. And so this is the item that I will seal on this. So that's all I wanted to show for you guys. I'm going to stop, take a look at the video, and see if I can fix that by switching back to my old tripod phone holder, because if this was just moving around too much, that's probably an issue. Means I can't really use this new holder that I bought. So I will post a video that you can watch, and you'll be able to see what I did tonight. So sorry for some of the technical difficulties here. I will get this redone, and hopefully you guys have a great evening and you stay warm. Thanks. Bye-bye.